Hello fellow collectors, my name is Carl and welcome to part 2 of my weekly haul video. Um, in the video yesterday I teased a little bit about some Ferraris and Enzo is here again. And Enzo and I have been having a little bit of a spat on the channel because he's been very unhappy with the number of Ferraris that have been shown on the channel. I had tried to appease him with this beautiful CM model Ferrari 488. However, he said that Ferrari has a racing heritage, and the lack of Ferrari race cars on the channel is totally unacceptable. And so he has now shown up with his lawyers and is insisting that I either show some Ferrari race cars or he's going to shut the channel down. So I figured I'd better find some Ferrari race cars to show. And thankfully, due to Kyosho, I was able to find these very cool Ferrari Formula 1 car kits. And this is a series, it looks like this probably came out in around 2004, 2005 time frame. And it's a series of 20 cars covering 1951 to 2003. So this is the 2003 Ferrari F1 car. And this was put out in two collections, each with 10 cars, so 20 cars total. And then each of the two collections spanned the time frame, with cars from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and up to the early 2000s. So these are very cool sets. Obviously, they're all kits. You have to put them together, so that's going to be an interesting challenge. And so we have the newest one is this 2003 car. Again, we can take a look at it. And then the oldest one is from 1951. And this is very cool. This is just an awesome set. So what I figured we would do on this video, or what I had intended to do on this video, was to take one of these things, crack it open, and put it together on the video. I haven't put any of them together yet, and then I was going to put the rest of them together because I have all of these. If that's not clear, so I have all 20 of the cars in kit form, and so I have to put them all together, and I'm going to end up with a large number of little tiny screwdrivers. But yeah, so I figured, or I had planned to put all of them together and then show all of the assembled models as part of this video, but I'm recording this a little bit later than I had intended to, and I don't really have time to put all these together tonight. It's already 1 a.m. where I am, and it's a little late to put together 20 of these little kits. But we will move Enzo to the side and hope that he is satisfied with the presence of some Ferrari racing cars on the channel, particularly Formula 1, because Ferrari is has been part of Formula 1 from pretty much, actually probably from the beginning, and they have never withdrawn at any point. Almost every other team at some point in time has withdrawn from Formula 1, and Ferrari never has. And because of that, they carry a lot of weight in the sport. What Ferrari wants, Ferrari tends to get. Even though in this season they are not one of the leading teams as far as competitiveness, but they still, are a very dominant force in the sport. So, otherwise, I don't know that we need to go through all of these. Looking at them in kit form is probably not super interesting, although there are some, interesting variations. I find the older cars fascinating, and it's really interesting to see the evolution of these. So maybe it is worth going through here, just quickly looking at the pictures so that we can see the cars as they evolved. So we're going via year. So this was 1958. Then we have 1961. then 1964. You can see that, the evolution. The cars are getting a little sleeker, and getting a little longer, getting a little lower, and so this is the 1964 car. And then we go into the 70s. These are all going to slide, and we start to get even lower and longer, and we start to see aero introduced. This is where the first occurrences of wings in the early 70s. So we can see a little bit better. The wings were small at this point in time, and then the cars got bigger wings, and then in the mid 70s, this is 1975, they got these really big air boxes on the back of them, which gave these cars a very unique look for the time. That only lasted a few years before that went away. So actually, you can see here, this is a 76, and by 76, the giant air box is already gone, and you just have a roll bar. But the wings are getting bigger, and 79, actually the wings shrank a little bit. And these 79s had a very interesting nose design, or the way the wings sat on the nose, kind of sat on top of the nose cone, which is kind of interesting, and was a fairly iconic design for the Ferrari cars of that era. And we keep going in the 80s, start to look a little smaller wings. I'm not sure why that happened. The 80s is probably the era of Formula One that I'm the least familiar with. Maybe the rule changes at that time. They were trying to reduce aero, but then we get bigger wings again. This is 84. Okay, so this car is clearly a Monaco trim, so it has a really big rear wing on it and a big front wing. They run a very high downforce configuration on the Monaco track because it's so tight. It's low speed track, so it's a lot of cornering speed. And then we get 1988. This was the era when I first started really following Formula One, and through the early 90s was when I first experienced it. I live in Phoenix, and they did we had Formula One here downtown, and that was what got me into it, going to the races. And this 1992 version of the car is one that I really remember watching all the time back then. And we're almost done with these. So then we have 1995, 1996, and the cars are getting, again, longer and lower. This is where they had this drop nose. The wing was dropped away from the nose, which is kind of an interesting character of that generation of Formula One cars. They did that for a few years. This one has the same type of nose, and that has now gone away. So this was 1998. And then we have the year 2000 car, which still had even a bigger drop nose. And then 2002, that went away, and the car is, again, looks longer. Formula One cars have gotten dramatically larger through time, and the modern Formula One cars are ridiculously large, which is one of the problems with running the cars at Monaco still, is the cars are just too big for the track now. And so then the latest version in this set is the 2003 car. So I figured we'd take this 2003 car and crack it open and put it together. Hopefully this doesn't really take very long. There's not a huge number of parts here. There's only like 5 or 6. And so we get the body, or the body work. This one has the front wing integrated with it. And this is metal. This piece is metal. These pieces are plastic. So we have the rear wing. Get that to focus. The rear wing, and then the well, what would be the tub if this was a, designed in the same way as a Formula One car. And then you have what would be called the floor on a Formula One car, which is the bottom of the car. It's a very critical aerodynamic element on the cars. You find a lot of cars will get damaged. They'll make contact with another car and they'll damage the floor, and then they're much slower after that. All right, so let's see. Then we have the rear wheels and the front wheels, and how does this fit together? So you have the floor, and then this sits on here. So, yeah, okay. And the rear wing sits on there. This is going to be more fiddly than I was expecting. And then the wheels sit. Oh yeah, this is going to be a challenge. Oh boy, yeah, this is really going to be a challenge. I promise I'm only going to do one of these because this is really tricky. Yeah, definitely going to take me a while to put all these together. I gotta hold that in place. I think you need like 6 fingers to do this. I don't think I'm doing this right. It seems like it would be better to build it up the other way. Maybe that's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah. So you don't follow their instructions. And turn it over. Come on. Sit there. Yeah, see, that works much better. There we go. Yeah, that's the trick. Build it upside down. I guess it just sits there. I'm trying to make it fit tighter, and that's all it really takes is just sit there and then you screw it on. I'm sure this is riveting. Riveting YouTube content as I make a mess of this thing. All right. If you ever wondered whether a pre-assembled Kyosho is worth the price, yeah, I am not cut out for the assembly of these things. Well, this is not right. This wing is not on there right. Oh well. I'm going to have to take this apart and futz with it off camera. We can get the idea of it though. Overall, these look pretty good. Zoom in a little bit. It will ignore the fact that that wing is not sitting correctly, but So this era they had Bridgestone tires, which is cool that they've got the lettering on the side of the tires. It's very important. Shell sponsorship. I suspect maybe this car had some kind of cigarette branding or something on it, because this looks like it should have a sponsor logo there. I don't know. Obviously, this is, since these can be considered toys, they're not going to put that on there. Plus, the cars weren't even allowed to run that branding in a lot of cases. But yep. So, oh well, I'm gonna have to futz with this some more off camera, and then I'll be putting these together gradually, and I'll be working some of these into other videos to show them, because I think these are all really cool. I love race cars. I love Formula One and Formula One cars, and there are not a whole lot of Formula One cars in 1/64 scale. I have some Williams Formula One cars from Aoshima that I have shown in other videos, and maybe I'll do another, I don't know, video dedicated to these or something. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But anyway, I wanted to show these off, because these are very cool sets, and I think it's it's just an awesome kind of a history lesson in Formula One when you have all of them, and then being able to see how the cars evolved. So I'm very excited to get them all put together, and to be able to get a closer look at the cars and see better how they evolved, rather than just looking at pictures from a side profile. But yep. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully Enzo is a little less cranky now, because this is he should love this thing, and obviously he passed before this particular car ever ran, but in his miniature form here, hopefully he'll be satisfied, and he'll tell his lawyer to go away. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.